what is that thing they say?
Hey.
You're
Yes,
most
Afropunk.
locked down. Did you see that sweat? All right, you are most welcome, Dr. Fumi.
Good
You took your
evening,
pretty time, but are we glad you're here?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to switch to gallery view so they can see all of us at once. How y'all doing?
Very
We're
well, thank
doing
you.
good.
Mm. The gorgeousness is a bit hot in this room. Just a little bit, not too much. Okay. Did you just witness to see happen real time live on your screens? Did you? Did you now?
We
Okay, let me
did.
get first
Oh,
impressions. Let me get first
I can't
impressions.
imagine Lady Bodam in the bandage skirt she described. It's so hard to imagine.
honestly. And she was like actually like describing the length. I was like, it's not adding up.
Trust me. It was tough to pull off, but I did. I did. I pulled it off.
All
But
right, so
it,
I really want to get just your first impressions of Sisi the premiere. What you think of it? You saw there was so much conversation in the chat, a lot of engagement, people telling their own stories, people hearing unique stories that sounded like theirs, right? There's almost like an unpacking. So I'd like you to share what you think this means for especially emerging leaders, which you all on this call currently are, but emerging leaders that are coming up after you. Why is this topic even important? And how was your first impression of Sisi?
Fair, you can go first.
Oh, I knew Buddha was gonna do that. I just knew it. But I think the first thing that struck me, first of all, was just how unique everyone's style is. I think sometimes when people think style, they always think it needs to just be one thing, or it just needs to be in this particular box, or it has to match the trend of the current season, or what the culture is saying. But what I think Cece did for me was that it gave me a new lens to look at style. So that was the first thing that kind of hit me. And then the second thing as well was that really hit me too was the fact that leading ladies have to think about style from a whole different perspective. We can't just afford to do it the way everyone does it. There has to be almost like a different playbook that we're kind of playing from or reading from. And I think that's what this documentary does. It's like a playbook of sorts for women who are leading in different spheres to kind of understand that, yes, there's something our style says, there's something it does when we get into spaces. But yes, it was really refreshing to watch and actually very enjoyable. And like I told you, brother Day, take the flowers, take the gardens. It's such a beautiful piece of work, honestly.
Oh my word, this is definitely interesting for me because the three of you are here for a reason. First of all, you're my darling sisters who I love so much, my friends, my fellow visionaries, and trailblazers. But you each uniquely occupy a spot that I think is important to this conversation. Ayonfe is a maker of brands. She's a builder and accurate representative of yourself and your future self and helps you cross that bridge to where you're going. Ayonfe is a marketing executive. Why do we have marketing people in the house? Basically, to be a leader, there's a lot of marketing involved. There's a lot of packaging involved. What is packaging? It's essentially containing your message in sizes where people can then partake or participate in the you that you present. So Ionfair does that for key brands. And if you're a leader, you definitely want someone like this to help package you. Then Lady Bodam does that for industry as well as for female leaders as well. She's not just in the business of branding, but she's in the business of developing these female leaders, helping them accurately represent themselves. And she does this for products as well. Now, Dr. Fumi This was an enigma because she is a medical personnel, a dentist with her own practice, but she didn't stop there. She has a clothing brand. Brethren, ask me how do these things work? But she does have her own clothing brand as well as, and is in the business of creatively styling people who are professional, people who before now people didn't quite associate with style. But she knows that there's something in every woman that longs to be expressed. And many times we don't get to be able to see those things that suit us, fit us, or appeal to our own innate sense of style in the marketplace. And she's making that possible. So among these three people, amongst all of us here, you'll be hearing that. And me, what am I in the business in? Nobody will ask me. I won't talk to people asking me.
Talk to us, darling. What are you in the business
Okay.
of?
What I'm in the business of and in is the business of really developing people's inner state. So I help women own their power. I help women find their voice, and I help women stand for truth. So no matter how gorgeously a woman is dressed, if it's not congruent with who she is and on the inside, I question it. So while man looks on the outward, maybe I'm just like somewhere between God and man, looking the inward as well as the outward. Do you understand? I help him make sure that those two things align. Because why are we dressed all good, but it is just to impress the next person? Or why are we dressed all in quotes bad? Because I don't really know what is bad or what is good, just to make a point. Do you understand? So for me, it is that business that developed us, provoked this conversation when I was talking with my mentees, and I was seeing how parents, churches, mentors, everybody else in many cases except themselves influence their style. And if you think about it, our fashion, our style is the canvas we get to paint every day for the world. There's no bigger expression. So now you get where they're coming from when they start talking to you. So Dr. Fumi, over to you. Impression of Sisi.
I love how you created mentors that are worthy of emulation. So it wasn't just, oh, do it this way. You gave them a picture of possibilities in Uche, Lotana, and Ajemba, and in Lady Bodam, and in yourself. And I love how you were all sincere and authentic with your story. So Uche talking about her journey from the UK, just their drab dressing, just makeup, and Lady Bodam, very impossible, very hard to picture with her bandage mini skirt, telling her
This
friend,
scares, we must see it.
telling her friend to get the
For
boyfriend back with the
posterity.
skirt, but it didn't work. And you with your brogues and wanting to make a mark in the world with your style, in the world of men. But I love how all the different stories just tie together, and now you're all beautiful, fashionable, power women, leading with heart, leading with love and authenticity. So I love the fact that it painted a picture for them. And I love how faith also kept being infused into the conversation. So there's audacity, there's faith, there's inspiration, there's going for your dreams, rising to the peak of your career, as along with style. So we're not just, oh, look good, we're being all that. And I love how Lady Bodam ended the whole just shine. Like there was no category she left out. Older singles, younger singles, married, every category just shine. And for me, that was what it was. It was, and it got me thinking and asking, am I showing up as the best, as my best self every time? Am I focusing on this image that I have of who I am inside, and am I showing the world that image also? Am I leading with femininity also? Because that was a message that was passed consistently, weaving your femininity into your style. So yes, I love the conversation, and it is conversations like this that change the world. We realize how just talking about it, bringing it out there in the open, can shift perspectives and get people doing what they ought to do. So excellent. I can only imagine all the moving parts that brought the documentary, because I see younger ladies across different parts of Nigeria and different ladies. It was beautiful. It was.
Fun fact, Dr. Fumi was supposed to be a monk. I don't know where she traveled to that time. That's what happened. It's not really as if.
Oh,
No, it's okay. And we're glad to have you in our midst. But you mentioned some key points, talking about at the end of the day, we're people who are influenced, even as we influence. It's if we do not recognize our influences, it doesn't mean we're not being influenced. It just means that we haven't yet discovered. It hasn't gone from subconscious to conscious that the reason I keep wanting these dresses with bow tie is because my grandmother, when I used to see those pictures, it used to be. The reason I walk the way I walk, that my senior when I was in secondary school, when I would see her walk down, people didn't used to argue with her or something. We haven't done that deep work of associating these things so that we can then say, should we actually keep this thing or should we expunge it? All right, over to Lady Boda. I say that for last because it can't just be fast boosting somebody. It is my show, but it's hard. When Lady Boda is in the room, somewhere between you living the life and transitioning through these stages, it gives you a paradigm that most people don't get to have because you didn't stay stuck in one place. So, Lady Boda, could you share with us your insights? Even though you were
Well,
in there, what did it look like when the whole thing came together?
I think
What
that's the
started
first,
firing in you? What thoughts?
yeah, that's the first thing I wanted to start off by saying that seeing everything come together. It's one thing when you sent your guys come over, I was seated in my home. We did this interview. It's one thing to just to know what I said, but I think to see it all together, just first off, well done. I know I've said well done privately, but let me say well done publicly because yes, it does take a certain amount of vision to see the narrative that we want to begin to shape about style, especially for women of faith. Because all too often we go on the way of, um, let me give a quick example. I was in a class yesterday and I was teaching, and then when I finished, one of them said, "Oh, you know what? Lady Buddha, you said something because I always used to say, if God can see my heart, everybody else should see my heart." I'm like my sister. God sees the heart. We we see the external, isn't it? But first, so thank you because it's such a pivotal, like Dr. Fumi said, it's a pivotal conversation for this time. What blows my mind, first off, and I'm not saying this because I'm in it, but just the caliber of women that you pull together. It's one thing to just have a documentary with, a few good-looking girls, right? Coming to have a conversation, and that's beautiful. But when you have a few good-looking girls that carry weight, it just, again, I'm not praising myself, but you know what I mean, right? It takes it to a whole other level.
Sister,
So
praise yourself. Praise away. Mm-hmm.
it takes the conversation to a whole other level. And I'm so glad that we're able to have real talk about these things. You said to me just now that I've transitioned through a number of things. Yes. And precisely because I've been on all ends of the spectrum, I'm able to speak a bit more authoritatively about some of these things. But I think what fills my heart really, first off, is gratitude. In this moment, what I'm feeling is gratitude. The second thing I'm seeing is just a sense of possibility, that thinking about all the places Sissy can go to and all the amazing things and all the lives it will touch and all the narratives it will change. So I'm really filled with gratitude and really filled with the weight and the sense of responsibility and possibility. And then the third thing, and I'm going to stop now because I've started this thing I do. But the third thing, which I'm going to say just before I stop, is just looking, as I was looking at the comments that were coming up, I think it was beautiful to see how people were getting their own light bulb moments. So just reading, you can say, and I'm going this a different route because I was in it. So just reading the comments of how people were saying all the different things people were saying, I just thought, they get it. They're seeing it. Their minds are expanding. There's something here. So my heart is full. This is a champagne moment, brother. You should have sent us champagne so that when we're done with this, we now all just do a little pop the
It's
champagne, but
chilling
it's
in the
okay.
fridge.
It's
You
in the
need a
fridge.
toast.
Okay, then.
It's chilling in the fridge. That's what it is. It's chilling in the fridge. So, Lady Bodam, you raised something important. Um, many times we go after our visions and we're looking at what we're building and we're looking more at, I mean, personal development. We're talking about what lies within, what, you know, let's do this thing. You know, it doesn't really matter what you look like. We think of people like Einstein with his hair. Meanwhile, do you know Einstein was a brand by himself? Because now, if
Yes.
you see a naughty professor, your hair is not jaga jaga, you are not even trending.
Oh,
Do you understand? So, Ayofe, talk to us about the importance of not just doing the inner work, but allowing it show. Let's say I'm your client and I've told you this, I want to be in the C-suite and I'm in early management, but I'm still kind of dressing the way I'm dressing, looking the way I'm looking, and just generally being, what would you tell me? Why is it important um, to up this thing? Yeah.
oh, thanks for that question, Brady. I mean, first of all, why is it important to like take things up a notch? And I think the first thing is if you're running with an assignment, you're running with a vision. I think the first thing people always need to realize is that they're the first evangelist of that vision. So they're the first person that people are going to actually hear and see and feel and touch for them to really say, oh, yes, we need this solution, or oh, yes, I want to invest in that solution, or oh, yes, can you come and help me do X or Y or Z? And so, because you yourself are that first evangelist of sorts, there's a lot you have to make sure you bring to the fore when you're having your conversations. And of course, these days, we know those conversations are not just happening in person, they're happening whenever you show up online, whether it's through your Instagram presence, whether it's through your website, whether it's through, a virtual appearance, etc. And so, because you have that responsibility to make sure that your message is not diluted, your message is not misunderstood or misrepresented, you owe it to yourself to make sure that the package in which that message is being delivered looks right, feels right, and is appropriate and befitting. So I feel that's sort of one thing that whether you're a younger visionary, an older visionary, you have to realize that that responsibility first is from you. And I think sometimes we do this thing backwards where we feel, okay, yes, I have a vision. And then you probably run to a stylist somewhere, or you're like, can you just package me quickly? I want to look a certain way. And I'm like, no, actually, it starts from you. Let's sit down and understand what is it that you're trying to run with? What is this vision? Because if you don't have that proper understanding of who you are, what the vision is, and who you're trying to reach, when you bring in or invite a stylist to help, if they don't get it, if you're not communicating it right to them, they're going to style you most likely wrongly or most likely inauthentically, which I think is really at the heart of this conversation about style.
That
It
one,
has
that
to be
one, that one, but
very,
keep going.
it has to be very, very, very authentic. So I would say that's one of the things, or one main reason why you kind of have to make sure that you take things up a notch. And then maybe the second thing I'll say before, so I don't talk too much, is the fact that when people begin to interact with you or your brand or whatever it is that you've been sent to do, there's something you want to leave with them. There's an impression you want to leave with them. And I think Bodam really talked about this so beautifully in the documentary about what impression it is you want to leave. And so sometimes when we're thinking about our style, it's not just because we like it, it's also about what we want to happen on the other side of the conversation. What do we want to happen when we've actually left the room, when conversations are done? So I think those are two things, yeah, that come to mind.
Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. She took us there. That authenticity part. So there's something Lady Buddha said on the call, and I was like, She said she don't like slits. I'm like, I think I kind of like slit. Depending on the movement. Do you see what I'm saying? But if you look at Lady Buddha, she's not lying that she's really attractive. It's not the face. All of us, many times, we all have faces, but there are some body types you see. Even me as a woman, I do a double take. I just kind of like glance back to admire the work of who? The Lord. So when she says she don't like sleep, there's a reason why. But talk to us about the importance of dressing for your body type, or dressing to keep attention where you want it. Because sometimes I know you go all out because we're about to shut the city down. Do you understand? Like it's time to show your creativity, you're having fun, you're with your girlfriends, all the bold colors, versus you're going into a boardroom and you're about to close this deal. And you don't need anybody now telling you where did you get those pants or where did you get that earring? Like, you're not a model for that company, right? Tell us what that importance is.
My goodness, Balade, this is such a pivotal question for this time, right? And I love that you're asking it to me, because it's one of the things that burns in my heart when I speak to female leaders. Yeah, you can see my voice is even gradually, so just be pulling me down. Once you see me, just be doing like this, calm down, be calming down.
No, go where you want to go.
I'll say
We
two
want
or
you
three.
to fly.
I should fly. All right, then.
Meanwhile, please, you guys continue to add your voices to the conversation. I see you in the chat and we'll start taking questions. So go ahead and put your questions in the chat. All right, keep going, please, Lady Bodam.
Awesome. I think I'll say a couple of things. The first one is, every time we talk about your style, one of the things, and I have spoken to it so beautifully, is that your style has to be aligned to your personal brand. So this question of how do you want people to feel when they come in contact with you is a question that everybody should take time tonight, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, and put that on paper, right? The second thing is an acute self-awareness of your frame and how it is you're shaped, and the impact that you have when you walk into a room. So I had a send forth with my department on Wednesday evening. And one of the things, one of my colleagues said to me, she said, but you walk into a room and you can't be missed. You walk into a room and you walk in with presence. Even if you're not saying anything, even if you're quiet, you walk into a room and the room feels that somebody has walked into the room. I'm well aware of the impact that I have when I walk into a room. So the question I would be asking is, if I carry this much presence, do I now want to distract the attention of people from me, my presence, and the power I want to bring into that room?
But Lady Boda, you're already distracting. Like, I'm already distracted on this call. I'm
And
trying
these
to
are the
focus.
issues, baby girl, These are the things. So, and then it's even more important, depending on where, now, I work now, not so much, but I've worked primarily in male-dominated industries most of my career, and I'm coming around about 20 years. I'm really young. I just started young, yeah? So if anybody on here is like, 20 years she's been working, no, don't do it. I'm young. All right, good. Let's just settle that. Anyway, I've always worked with men for the most part. So I was one of the only women, if not one of very few women around the tables that I used to be in. Brother Day, in those rooms, honestly, you want to very quickly showcase and establish authority, showcase and establish weight, depth of knowledge, all of that. I don't need anybody to be eyeing my décolletage or my derrière. What other French word am I going to use now, right? I don't need, because I'm, like you said,
I can Google later, but keep talking.
Okay. The other thing I would say is, and I was sharing this with a colleague, and it's very with the people I was training yesterday. Even when I go, my industry, we have a lot of work events. Even when I go for work events where my colleagues are, even if it's a party happening in the midnight hours, that is still a work event. Therefore, the clothes I will wear for that work event party, it's going to be party-like, but it's still going to be work-like. Why? Because when I sit at the boardroom table on Monday or Tuesday, I don't want the image that is remembering you is me just shaking my, what's that thing? My milkshake, right? In my bandit skirt and my high heels. No, I need you to take me seriously. And this is why this is all important. It's that thing of, what impression do you want to leave behind when people meet you, right? And then the second thing, especially because of your industry, is how do you want to play? a lot of women get by and doors are open for them because of their body. Do you want to be one of those statistics, right? Or do you want to bring something more weighty to the table? So I think those are just some of the questions and some of the challenges that I would leave behind to say why it's so important to, and then of course, dressing for the right spaces. So you're out with your girls, listen, knock it out. It's you and your girls. You're going on a date. Hello. Can you have a bit of mysterious air, something about you that, the colors that you choose, the kind of makeup that you choose? I speak about scents a lot. So the scents that you're going to put on when you're going out with your husband or your boyfriend or your whatever, right, should be different from the scent that you're going to use in
That's
the
what I'm
office.
talking about.
Helps you move and change. Okay, I'm going to stop
Like, why
here.
are you wearing Chanel Monday morning to work, though? Chanel, night Chanel, not the
It's real
floral.
nice Chanel.
What really
But when
happened?
you're going to bed, there's a special scent that you should wear when you're going to bed.
Absolutely.
After you have a shower, just before you get, and this applies whether you're single or married. Okay, just saying that one. I'm done. Okay.
Awesome. Is Fumi back here? Fumi, if you're here, please let us see you and your beauty. But this is so important, the conversations
Oh, I'm
we
here.
have.
You see me?
No, we can't see you. Your beauty just blinded your camera, and now we can't see you. So your camera
Oh,
is, yeah,
wow.
is black. So if you
I'm
can.
here.
Oh, now look at Glory. Okay, Fumi, as you're sorting your camera, I'll be asking you this question, right? Your brand started something that has gone universal. You've showcased all around the globe in Southern and Eastern Africa, in the UK, in America. You're going around the world with a very unique sense of something that was already available. Sometimes people think that, okay, I want to wear something that never existed before, but you took Adire, you took Ashoke, and you gave it language, you gave it accessibility to the boardroom as well as to the, just any generic party. You even made some shorts and even crop tops, but you elevated them. Tell me, why is that important? Why didn't you say, okay, there are many people already in the fashion business, let me stick to teeth. This is what I do. Tell me, why did you feel it was necessary to do that? And what is the place of um, the actual clothing in this thing we're calling style?
Mm. Okay, so the whole fashion with African fabric, indigenous methods came as a divine idea. I wasn't looking out for the idea. I was on my own being a dentist. I used to sell shoes and bags. I used to ship them in
She
and
used to
then
sell shoes and bags, but she said she was on her what? On her own. But keep going.
I was just shipping in shoes and bags and
As a
from the
student, you
US
didn't
and from
mention as
China.
a
Oh, yes,
university
as a
college
student.
student.
Yes, as a university student, and then when I did my compulsory 1 year housemanship, that's like a year where you work as a doctor. So our salaries were delayed for about 5 months. So by the time we were paid in millions. So my friend and I came together and we put our money together and we brought in 250 pairs of shoes from China. And that was how this whole thing started. So we were selling on, then it used to be deal day, and we were selling
Sorry, this is how many
shoes.
years ago now? Just for
But this
perspective.
was 2012.
Were any other of your classmates doing it?
Absolutely not.
Well,
Absolutely
did
not.
you need that money for school fees?
Not at all. My mother always used to wonder, where is all this thing coming from? What's the problem? What do you really need?
I
But
hope
I
you're
just,
hearing visionary conversations here right now, because some things you did earlier that you're like, no, I'm grown now, let me move on. You don't know that it's telling you of things to come, because the space
yeah,
in which she's playing now is not ordering some pairs of shoes. And for me, sorry, I'm interrupting you, but I want them to know you didn't just say, oh, I'd like to start a fashion brand. Is the fashionable thing people do now.
no,
It is something that has stayed with you through your years. Okay.
yeah, yeah. And so it was 2018, 2017. I was in Abuja with my family, and there was just I just knew there was something. And I used to use this word a lot. There's more, made for more. I have a lot of things with that. So it just felt like there was something. And I remember praying a lot. And then I went for this 2-day business conference. And so I came back all fired up, all charged up, thinking, oh, it's the shoes and the bags. And then overnight, I just had a picture of Adire. Nobody was wearing Adire stylishly then. It was Kampala. It was starched. It was hard. It was the mummies in the Lord that used to wear Kampala then. And then I was reading Proverbs 31, and the scripture of, oh, she makes linen and purple wear. And it just flashed out that I was going to be working with different fabric, with denim, with linen, with silk in Adire. And I was like, okay. So I signed up to learn how Adire was made then. So I paid for a training. And by the time I finished it, I was like, how will I do with denim? And then I started researching, and then I found people who could produce for me. And we produce with denim, we produce with linen, with silks. We experiment a lot and we get a lot. And the funny thing about this line of business is I don't do much. I don't dance, I don't market, but the caliber of women I produce clothes for, the caliber of women are reaching out to me to say, make me outfits, dress me for the next few weeks. And because of the kind of women I don't put them out there either. So it's just a me and them conversation inbox. The kind of favor I've received with this business, my children call at Body Pantry my international business. They say Lux Dental is my Nigerian business and Body Pantry is my international business, because I just get openings to go for exhibitions and fairs, and it's a powerful style, and fashion is a powerful door. It opens up doors to you. It opens when you're dressed well, many times it opens up doors to you. And then but this business has just it's just a visionary expression, because there are many things I could have been doing, many other, but there's just a calling around this. And I think I've owned it now. Before, I used to just be shy. I didn't want to be seen as the confused doctor that was also dabbling into fabrics. So I just used to be quiet about it. But now I think I own it now. I'm like, yes, I also style royal women. So yes.
Royal women. This is so key. Look, for me, there's something I noticed about your outfits. Even though they're African and sometimes our fabrics are so loud. Oh my gosh. Just imagine somebody walking into your face and yelling. You guys don't know, because maybe if you live in some parts of the world, it's normal. I just say, why are you shouting? The top has flower, the middle has bow, the hand have what do you call it? 3 puff and sleeve. Then there's 3 things, haute couture things surrounding your body. And you are just going to try to come back with what happened? What happened? I want us to talk about style from a sense of sometimes toning it down or toning it up, as the case may be. But since we're mostly African women here, I want to talk about toning it down. I want to talk about how that if we see Gucci makes an outfit and there is one brooch here and they did not put bow on the waist or ruffles at the bottom, they did not really make a mistake. It is so that your attention. Talk about that level of distraction. And Ayonfe, let me start with you, because you can be on the front cover of the Times. I don't really remember what Hillary Clinton was wearing on the Times cover, or Oprah Winfrey. I just know that she looks gorgeous. I don't know. I can't really tell what that thing is. Talk about the difference between attracting attention for your clothes versus attracting attention for yourself. When does style become distracting? And what tips would you give for people to downtone without being completely gray scrubs or just navy blue suit only? Talk about that.
Yeah. Absolutely. It doesn't have to be navy suit only. There can be color, there can be pops of color. But I think at the heart of it, right, whenever we see people with the big bow here, the feather there, and it's just like so many things are happening. I think at the heart of it, people are trying to make a statement. But I think it's important for us to realize that you can make a statement even without those things. And I know Bodam really kind of delves into this if you sign up, for a lot of the things that she does. But I think of some very fundamental things you should have in mind when thinking about, should I tone it down? Will I look too simple? Because sometimes people feel like, I don't want to look too simple. I want to look a bit sophisticated. That's not what's reigning now, etc. And I think one of the things that I always say is, your outfit is sort of one part of the conversation, but then when you open your mouth, something else also happens. So I almost always see, whenever I'm dressing up, as a two-part, it's almost like a two-part show that is about to happen. So I don't always feel that pressure to put all the bows and everything, because I know that, yes, the outfit kind of starts the conversation, but then when we start talking, it elevates the conversation to a completely different level. So I think one of the things that you could just consider, especially if you feel like, do
Don't
I
be
have
nice.
to do
Don't be,
all
you're
of
too nice.
those?
You are being too nice. Don't be nice like that. It's
Okay,
it's
okay.
nice.
One of the things you
Don't
should
ask them to
consider,
consider. Tell them it's okay. Okay,
it's
continue.
really okay not to put all it doesn't have to be all that, because really, whenever you show up, I always say it's a two-part show that's happening. There's what you're wearing, and there's going to be what you're going to say or what you're going to do. And so allow, even if your outfit, for instance, is not as all over the place, etc., that is fine, because you know that when you begin to speak, there is something else that is really going to elevate it and take it up a notch. And the second thing as well, I think that is important to remember when people, you're always trying to kind of weigh it. Should I add more? Should I put another layer? Should I do all the colors? Because I remember when color blocking was such a big thing back in the day. And you see people, I'm like, how many colors can we add in here? I'm like, just relax a little bit, it's fine. But I think one thing at the heart of it as well is the fact that, yes, you want to be creative and you want to express yourself. And I think it comes back to, am I really expressing myself, or did I just pick this up from somewhere? I think there are a lot of influences sometimes that we just take on, whether because we've been seeing it on social media, we've been seeing it everywhere, and it might not really be you, but you just feel like, I have to do it. And so I think today, one of the things I would say you can leave here with is, you don't have to succumb to that pressure. You don't have to wear everything because that's what everybody is wearing. You absolutely do not. If it's not really you, if it's not the way you express yourself, then don't, because there are a lot of people out there on the streets walking, and honestly, their style is not an expression of who they are. And I feel like your style should be one of the most beautiful ways for you to express yourself and for people to, sort of interact with a version of you that they don't know yet. And so if you're investing so much in expressing someone else's self with your clothes, it's like, what are we doing here?
Mm,
No, no, no. So I feel like,
mm.
as leading ladies, that's
If
definitely not
you
culture.
are investing, like you're taking all that time just to showcase someone else's style, what a missed opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah, what a
Yeah.
missed opportunity.
Lady Buddha, we
Yeah.
have a question in the chat, and it says, how do I show up in the way that is expected of me without losing my authenticity? For instance, for someone who loves sneakers but works in a space that requires, say, heels or corporate outfit, how does she navigate that space?
So there are two or three
All of us
things.
are not really like you that can, you understand, wear 9-inch things.
We're not all,
We're
So
not all former beauty queens, because maybe you don't know, but Lady Buddha
well,
is.
yeah, good. I'm a former beauty queen.
We're all not yellow like Lady Fumi over here wearing blonde hair. She's not wearing right now, but we're not all like that. Or like Lady Ionfair, your body's just banging, you just skinny and stuff. Sorry, I'm trying to elevate my communication. Your body is just exquisite. Oh, go ahead, please, Lady Buddha.
So this is such a great question. How do I show up in a way that's expected of me without losing my authenticity? So one of the beautiful things I think about us as women is that we do have the opportunity, the flexibility, and the freedom to tweak how it is we do show up without losing our authenticity. So I'm a heels girl. I love my heels. I love them. I wear them everywhere except to bed, you know? But I also have a job sometimes that requires me to be on site. And realistically speaking, it's not safe, and my heels will not even thank me to be in certain spaces with heels. It's just what it is. So I have found, and I was just looking to see if it's anywhere close here, but I have found the art of getting beautiful flat shoes to make me happy. Okay. I still probably only have like 1 or 2 pairs of sneakers. Don't judge me. We listen, but we don't judge. Okay. But I have a number of flat shoes that I'm able to wear when I'm going for site visits, setups that still make me feel feminine, but they're still suited for purpose. Okay. If I go back to your question, maybe the space does not necessarily require heels. Maybe what the space requires is a certain type of look. And you can achieve that if you're comfortable in sneakers. Maybe you try other type of flat shoes that don't look sneaker-like, but that do look elegant and can fit into that corporate culture that you're trying to fit into, right? So you get that. The other thing I want to highlight is when we are applying and accepting job roles, we should not just accept job roles for the money. You accept job roles for a number of things, one of which is company culture, because company culture actually supersedes everything else that you're getting in that organization. So if you already know that the culture of this organization is so far from my own personal culture, my own personal values, my own personal way of being, I know you might be broke for a little bit. It's just going to be a little while longer. Don't say yes, because you will end up being unhappy every single day, right? So make those small tweaks. Maybe instead of a dress, if you struggle with a dress, maybe get cute pants, get a shirt so you're still comfortable, and then look for nice flat shoes, nice flat slingbacks, pointy flats, all those things that just elevate how you look, make you fit into the space, but at the same time, you're not losing yourself completely. Final thing I would say on this is, and it's just a general note, which is anything that we hold on to so much can actually become an Achilles heel. So I'm the queen of elegance and femininity. And it's where I sit in the most. It's what makes me excited and happy. It's how I live out my life. However, if I don't allow myself the if I don't give myself the room to be able to tone down where needed for a certain audience, or honestly really tone up where needed for a certain audience, I'm doing myself a disservice. And this thing that's such a beautiful strength for me then becomes a weakness. So you are not defined by the fact that you wear sneakers. It's a preference. It's what you're most comfortable in. But have a second way of how you can elevate how you're most comfortable in. Does that answer the question, Braxy?
It absolutely more than does. It absolutely more than does. And in truth, wherever company you work in, it's just a station in your life. I remember talking about me wearing pants and shirt on campus, right? And I wasn't dressing for that culture. I was dressing for my future. I think, can we talk about bridging that gap? So I'm seeing myself now, seat of the CEO, HR, or as an entrepreneur, TEDx speaker, best-selling author, whatever it is. How do we begin to operate in the future while being acceptable in our culture? I think I do want to ask that, and I want to marry that question with comportment. How do we carry ourselves? We have worn the clothes now. Let me tell you the one that pains my soul. You have dressed up, everything is tapping the heels, and then you are chewing gum. Help me, help you. It hurts my soul. Or you are just walking flakba, flakba. You know, you guys, I try to find the words, sometimes they don't work. So, for me, let me come to you. How do we dress for that place we're going? Everybody's wearing jeans now, sneakers and t-shirt. Why can't I just continue? Or Everybody's wearing these really flamboyant things, or everybody's cleavage wanna fall out of their chest. And me, even though I'm like a size G or size H, I still wanna follow because anyway, talk to us about that thing about where we're going. A lot of the women here are here because they're leaders. Where they're going, how can they dress for it while being somewhat not attracting undue attention or seeming like they are not on earth.
So how you dress, all the conversations have flogged. How your style is a means of communication. So you show up and you're telling me who you are. I can make deductions about your personality from the way you show up. I interview people often for job roles, and many times once they walk in, I look at how they're dressed, their shoes. I can say, no, this is not a right fit. He doesn't pay attention to detail. Yes, that's how then the
I
interview
feel
will
that in my
prove.
bones, but keep going,
Yes,
please.
because men look on the outward. That's the reality of it. And so you want to dress for the future that you envision. I remember when I had my third child and I would go to work. So in that place of nursing a child, running a business, I began to drop the balls as I dressed to work. And I remember my husband picked me up one day and he said, no, you're going to have to show up as the owner of this business every day, irrespective of what you feel when you leave the house in the morning. And
Please
so
tell
I
me
had
when
to
you
go.
just say, "Oh, thank you, darling."
Oh no, I was like,
You don't know what I've been
um,
through in my life.
yes, I
What?
wanted to say, oh no, like you don't know how I'm feeling in the morning. My hormones, nursing a baby, running a
Man
business is
was
hot.
looking
Can I
down.
just have this break? And he's like, no, you cannot have the break. That every time you show up, anyone that comes in must know when you walk in that, oh, this lady owns this business. And that changed everything because I then stopped showing up as just the owner of a little business. I started showing up as the visionary of a multi-site, globally scalable dental brand. That was how I began to show up. And it elevated the conversations at work. And then I employed several people, and it stopped just being, because it's easy in the medical field to just do your crocs and your scrubs, or your trainers and your scrubs. But everybody began to level up also and began to show up in that phase. So it's so important. There are many opportunities that you miss out of. You have no idea, just because of how you show up. There are many people I know who have received mind-blowing opportunities just because they consistently show up with intention. And so just add some intentionality to whatever it is that you do. You see yourself as a global creative director, dress in that light. Dress in the light of whatever it is. There's the scripture that talks about John the Baptist. He had a dress code, and you could tell the kind of prophet he was because of the dress code. The priests in the Old Testament, the Bible says God dressed them for glory and for beauty. And so fashion is beyond just how I feel in the morning. It dictates. We can tell who you are. So it's not just clothes. It's not just clothes. It's not just a shirt. It's not just a top. It's a signature, and you should do it with intentionality every time you do.
Wow. Lady Bodam, I know you want to weigh in right here because you teach etiquette, you teach it, you embody it, and you almost lay it as a requirement for the next level for senior female leaders. Would you marry this with actual comportment, how we are moving in the world?
I'm going to tell, and I'm going to say a story, a little story. It may or may not be
Jesus,
fictional.
we love your GS.
That's for you to figure out, but okay. So that's how I hired somebody on a Zoom call virtually. We did the meeting virtually. My MD did my marketing, we all did the meeting virtually. The person now came to the office. The first thing that threw me off was, many things threw me off, right? But one of the first things that threw me off was this woman comes in, sits down, and then her knees are open. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, you sat down, Why are your legs ajar? Then you're sitting there in the office and she's speaking in a local dialect. I'm not going to say which one so nobody comes for me. But she's speaking at the top of her voice on the first day of work. You see, this thing, somebody can be like, ah, Lady Buddha, your own is too much. My other directors were like, you're lacking class, you're lacking finesse. There's something about you that's missing. Can we see this person as a senior leader in this organization? Look, let me help you with science, behavioral science. The science says that it takes 7 seconds to make an impression on somebody. Think about it. What can you say in 7 seconds? What can you do in 7 seconds? What magic can you perform in 7 seconds? In 7 seconds, people see how well you've pulled your outfit together. In 7 seconds, people can smell you. In 7 seconds, people can see how much you're holding up your body. In 7 seconds, people can see and feel your confidence. In 7 seconds, people can gauge that this person took a few extra minutes to, put lotion on their elbows and lotion in between their fingers. None of this ashy stuff. That's what people see in 7 seconds. And the science further goes on to say that after those initial 7 seconds, it could take months of subsequent meetings for the impression that was made in those first 7 seconds to be changed. Why don't you do yourself a favor and make sure that in those 7 seconds you're coming correct? What does coming correct mean? You have a skeletal system for a reason, and that reason is to hold up your body. So your skeletal system, when people sit down and you're sitting and you're like this, or you're sitting, or you just enter into the chair and just sit down like this, as if you've had 100 children. Nothing wrong with having 100 children, but you still have a skeletal system for a reason. Skeletal system for a reason. If you feel that, okay, you know what, maybe I'm a plus size and maybe I can't really go to the gym. It's available for you. Watch what it is that you eat. Your walking shoulders should be up and moved back, right? Tuck in your tummy so you give yourself a bit of a silhouette. Take a few extra minutes to make sure you smell nice. It doesn't matter if you hopped on whatever bus, rail, transport system it is. Maybe you don't drive a private car. It doesn't matter if you had to change the train 7 times before you get to your office. When you're entering into your office, go into the ladies, bring out your little antiperspirant over there, take care of your business, spray a bit of perfume, brush your hair, touch up your powder, do your lipstick again, and walk in as a female leader. That is comportment. Comportment does not mean, and I know my women in Africa, particularly in Nigeria, are guilty of this. We come into the office in the morning, we greet everybody, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Then we sit down at our desk. Yeah. Then we bring out our makeup purse.
Lady Bolan, please don't terrify me. You mean that's something that happens?
I have seen it. Not once, not twice, not stop. I've seen it.
Yes, it is a thing.
We'll now begin to look, the process of makeup, it's a private thing. Your toilet, as they say, it's something that's in the intimacy of intimacies. Let me tell you, if you're married, do I want to go there? No. Okay. Let me step back out. But even if you're married, there should be certain mysteries that exist between a husband and his wife. He shouldn't just know everything. It's just you're there, you want to pluck out a few hairs from the places we pluck out hairs. You're not just gonna sit with me, you now be gisting. No. Can you have a bit of mystery about you? You're sister, you're leader. And then that vision of who am I 5 years from now? Who am I 10 years from now? What rooms do I want to enter? What impact do I want to have? I work in a very casual organization, or I used to work in a very casual organization up until a few days ago, right? And everybody's chilled. Sometimes people come to the office in mini skirts and in shorts and in all sorts of stuff that I'm just like, eh? But I won't ever wear certain things. I can't wear crop top and trouser to the office. Why? Because I have a minimum standard of expectation for myself. I still know where I'm going. want to get to the United Nations. I want to stand there and they won't bring out a picture and it's me in crop top in my
Yeah, eared.
I'll come up higher, right? So I think those are some of the things I just wanted to add in terms
Oh
of.
my gosh, I love all of this conversation. And if you haven't yet signed up, go ahead and sign up. The link will be in the chat. The team will put the link in the chat. We have a leading lady style guide for you, and we talk about these topics. Lady Buddha, in fact, everyone has touched on these things. We've talked about confidence. It's not your clothes that give you the confidence, it's you that carries the confidence, and you give your clothes. I mean, look at somebody like Mark Zuckerberg. He made black t-shirt become popular. Like people just liked wearing black t-shirt. Why? It was the confidence. It was the force of the person behind it. So we have confidence. We have clothing, which Lady Fumi has spoken about here, which is that you have this apple shape, you have this broad shoulders. There's no need for you to wear massive sleeves and then little skirt. No, the balance has to be there, understanding your body type, understanding your structure. So, for example, if I'm going to work, I don't really wear flappy big blouses because it ages me. Guess what? It doesn't do that for maybe someone like Ayonfe. So I wear structured tops. That's what I wear. That's how I know what it conveys. It conveys competence real fast. So you check your own self and see, what does this thing convey, so that you're not just doing it because, oh, you're following other people. That's clothing. We talk about charisma. Ooh, that thing that Lady Boda was trying to express is not really body shape. Have you seen some people, are just like, let me tell you something that somebody said once. Say, have you noticed that some people can be so, forgive my word, ugly that they become beautiful? Like you're just mesmerized by their facial structure, by how they are. That thing that seemed to you to be repudiating becomes so attractive and compelling, and you don't know why you love this thing. Charisma is that thing that allows you make your features acceptable. I don't know what it is. People just say, you're so beautiful. You ask them what's beautiful, they don't know because they have issue with your mouth, with your nose, with your eyes. But you carry something that conveys your personality. Don't ask me on this call, Lady Bona, how can I build that? Lady Ayonfe, how can I? This is why personal development, coaching, all of those things are important. This is why you read books. There's an energy you introduce when you enter any space. It's beyond anything you can ever wear on your body. Clothing is there. Charisma is there. We talk about climate. There's no need for you to be in a temperate region and you're hot and sweaty wearing that hoodie. You're going to have to go and be refreshing, like Lady Bodam spoke about. Maybe if it's for a photo shoot, I understand, but not because of fashion. I remember I went to Nigeria. I'm hot, right? I've told them to make me off shoulder and the smallest sleeve possible because I gotta breathe. We'll be outside for all the events. Guess what people were wearing? Long sleeve blouse with two wrapper. You can imagine what some of the others were doing in this space. I love our fashion, but we have to be a little bit realistic in some of the spaces that we go into. So we have climate, we have comportment, courage. My mom, and we'll get into this question here. I want to know who your fashion icons are. When my mom walks here, you say, Madam, what do you really have? What do you really have that is making you, what? Are you Queen Elizabeth? The courage just brooks no argument. You're just like, as this woman is walking, I want to be walking behind her because we are going somewhere. That's how she just carries herself. And it's not about whining waist. No, it is the confidence. It is that thing where your head is on a string. You pretend like your head is. Have you ever wondered when you see those stars on red carpets? Every shot is perfect. Why? There's a courage, there's a comportment. Look at my back. There's a way I sit, ramrod straight. I'm not slouching like this. I'm not, ramrod straight. When I'm in meetings, when I'm anywhere, why? It conveys that confidence. So we talk about all those things in there. Make sure you put your email in and you get that style guide. This is not, you want to go back, take it away, and go in that your private room Lady Bodam spoke about, and you write. There's a portion in there called communication. What you said about these loud voices, about how we sound. Why would you dress like this? You open your mouth and it's problematic. No, we want to be congruent. And I think this is, for me, the biggest thing today. I want you to be congruent. If you really are going somewhere in your life, I want you to be congruent. The easiest, cheapest thing for you to do is to work on the style. All the other things, they will follow eventually. But you see the style, that's the cheapest thing. Like Nathaniel Bassey would say in Hallelujah Challenge, dress like your what? Your miracle. Carry yourself like your miracle. So I will go first. What are your fashion staples and who are your style icons? I just spoke about my mom. One of my style staples is something structured. So a blazer, but not a baggy blazer. I've seen people, oversized blazer was raining one time. Everybody thought they could wear it. You don't know yourself. You don't what? You don't really know yourself. So I wear structured fitted blazers or shirts or blouses. And if I wear something bigger on top, I want to balance it off at the bottom because God just helped me that my hips and my up here, it's not hip, sorry, derriere and my up here is a little balanced. We're working around the middle side. So I'm able to balance like that. Study yourself. Study yourself. I'm unable to wear, you see this high neck Lady Buddha is wearing. Okay, I can wear this one because it's a little sheer. I'm unable to wear something structure fitted all the way up to my neck. We need to breathe. And I feel like this kind of gives me more youthfulness. I also like bows. That's like my de facto tie. You know the way men wear ties. I like to wear bows. I like blouses that have bows or a little string, something like that. I love colors. So even if I wear a sweater, I want to wear colors inside. These are some of my signatures. I don't really like necklaces because there used to be a time my neck was really thick and I didn't want to accentuate that. So I love big earrings, as you can see, statement pieces. That is my style. I love tailored pants. Ooh, when you see a lady in a tailor pants, if you like wear t-shirts, when you come out, there's nothing like it. Then I cannot stand ballet flats. I talked about it on the call. So if you think you like flats, I want to convince you that you don't really like flats. What you like is to be level. And that's fine. You have loafers for it. You have brogues for it. It can be half an inch. It can be, yes, let me convince you. If you like sneakers, guess what? There's some sneakers that have just a little tapering bottom. It just looks just that much more, just a little bit more formal. If you don't like heels, there are some heels now that are more comfortable than completely flat shoes. They are padded inside. Go and buy Clarks. I can help you. If you like comfortable as your style, I got you. Okay. I think I've finished now for my style and my style icons. I really like Oprah Winfrey. She is trendy. She wears color, but at the same time, she balances it for her body type. Oprah now, because her style too has evolved. So all of those things. I like darker colors on top. Why? Okay, don't let me get into things. Okay, ladies, let me get to you now. If you know you want to have question, put it in the chat. Don't waste time. Don't waste time. And the ladies are about to go. Who's up next? No, Lady Bodan, go last. Don't intimidate
I should go
anybody.
last. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, then.
I want to hear Dr. Simi's style icons and her fashion staples because I'm already like,
I like timeless pieces. I like classic fashion. I'm not one that I don't do well with trends. So I love structured jackets. I love feminine silhouettes. So dresses, A-lined. I also like structured dresses, gowns, and I love trousers these days. I didn't used to before, but now I've become a pants girl. Slingbacks, I love slingbacks. Like, I think I'm gonna have to start producing because these days it's so hard to find formal slingbacks that are not bedazzled or bejeweled. So I love a good slingback. I love peep toes, just a little bit of lift. I love that tiny, I love these cute kitten slippers. I love that. Then makeup. I like makeup that is close to what I really look like. I love colors, so I try to infuse maybe a ruby woo or something on my lips, but I really usually like muted makeup that looks like me. I like hair. I've done several. I had to take courses on styling and
Did
fashion.
you hear? Keep
Yes,
going. Sorry, I
especially
shouldn't
after
be raising my
my
voice like
third
this.
child because my body changed and I kept dressing for the body I had before the pregnancy. And in my mind, I'm looking And then I passed by a mirror. I'm like, no, that wasn't the picture I had when I picked this dress. So I had to take a course. I know I had to send several measurements, and the person had to tell me, oh no, this is your new body type, this is your new body size. And you don't dress for the size you hope to be, because
Right.
sometimes you're 18 now and you're saying, I know I'll be a 12, and you're, no, 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 no. Dress for the body you have now as you walk towards the body that you hope to have. Dress for your body type, as we've been told. Even colors, you can learn colors that accentuate so they're warm, there's bright, your eye color, your hair color. There's a lot in the mix, but the basics, know the face, the shape of your face, the kind of hair that works for your face. Yes, yes, my style icons. For me, my mom always wears well-tailored clothes. Like, I remember her I remember I bought a dress one day and she's like, what? It was expensive, but she's like, what is this? Is rubbish. She used to use, I know had Taylor then when we were growing up was a pharmacist who her name was Doris Maxwell, and she would make clothes that when you put them on a hanger, they stand on their own. And so, yes, my mom really influenced my dress sense, and she always wore these nice dresses. I had a lot of Marks and Spencer gowns for a while, and so classic styles. I love Oprah style also, especially in my older years. I love Oprah style, and I like Jumoke Adeno's style because it is not basic. There's something extra about it, but she still stays formal. She's very stylish. She works with colors, she works with fabrics, I love all the different things that her fashion just excites me. So yes, for me, those would be it.
Lady the Bee.
Oh, or let me, I know Bonham has to be last because we know she's going to give us the breakdown.
All right, carry on.
Um,
You cannot be
let me,
intimidated. Do you understand?
I was like,
No.
let me leave Bonham to finish off this style
Okay.
conversation. Um, but I would say for me, very similar to Dr. Fumi. I think from whenever I think style, it has to be a timeless piece. Number one is because I don't like shopping. So whenever I shop, I know that it's probably going to be a while. So I'm definitely not buying things in my cupboard because they're trending. I'm actually intentionally buying them because I know they look good on me. They are going to be staple, timeless pieces that could, work if I combine them with different things. So I'm always thinking when I go shopping, is this going to be a timeless thing? Is it going to have longevity but still remain stylish? I love tailored pants. I love a nice high-waisted, clean cut pants. I love it. Um, I have a couple of blazers that are staples. I don't always experiment a lot with patterns. So you would find that I tend to do more solid colors, but then I do then want like my face probably to be a bit more vibrant. So I would experiment more with makeup because generally you would find that my clothes might appear a bit toned down. So I would then play with probably the makeup or with my hair a bit, to sort of maybe bring some color to the room. There's a time I went through a phase of rings, but I'm no longer in that phase. So I do also believe that your style would evolve and you should be willing to evolve. And that might be because, like, Dr. Fumi, you've had children, things are changing, or maybe you've changed maybe industries. And so you then have to, or you move to a different country. I remember in the documentary, that was one thing that came through when I think it was Richard I mentioned when she came back, or who I think I might, yeah, but yeah, someone came back to Nigeria. She was like, "Ah, this is very different from where I was." So sometimes that might call for you to change your style ever so slightly. In terms of my style icons, definitely at the top of my list would be CC Winans. I always feel like she's she has a lot of presence. There's a lot of aura about her, and the things she wears. And I think because I always knew from a very young age that I would be on stages, I would be in front of the camera, I always knew that I had to make sure that what I was wearing wasn't distracting to people, but still made a statement. And I feel like she was one person that, even as she's aged, like you look at her and you're like, she can't be 60. She's remained so timeless with her outfits. Oprah also has been, of course, again, because of how she shows up on camera and on different platforms, I've always been influenced by her choice of staying covered. And that's another thing with her, those just even though she was in Hollywood per se, she wasn't just always bringing out everything. You notice that there was something different. There was something very modest. And that was another thing with Cece as well. There was this modesty, but still so much elegance to what she would bring to her style. Um, but then another thing that I also love is I love seeing people play and experiment with fashion. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love Sarah Jake sometimes is because she takes bold chances sometimes, and you can see she just enjoys fashion. Now, I don't dress like her, but I think one of the things she influences me about is just that reminder again that you can also play with style, and allow yourself to sort of experiment once in a while and try different things. I think that's one thing that I like to see from her, even though there are a lot of things she wears that I might not wear or that might not be right for my body. But it's just one of the lessons I think her style and fashion reminds me of.
Love it. Okay, Lady Buddha,
Okay,
over to
my
you. But as I'm going over to her, we'll just say our final words after Lady Buddha is done. And in your final words, I want you to think of what is one thing that people can do now to elevate their sense of style. One, just pick one or two things. And Lady Buddha, you can weave that into your own when you finish now, as you
okay.
wrap up.
Fantastic. Thank you. So I would say my style staples will be, well, first off, starting with underwear, right? I am one of those people that really love matching underwear.
I wanted to say that I'm so sorry I'm interrupting, but this part, don't miss it. Take notes. You see, bras have changed my life. Are you seeing that? I can jump. So sometimes it's not even about, oh, you're too busty or you're too this or you're this. Like, we're too old for, for us to have lines on our bum.
Come on now.
Okay,
Exactly.
I'm sorry, Lady Buddha.
They
Just
come in different
carry on.
things. Your underwear can be lacy, it can be silky, it can be satiny, it can be all sorts, right? So I really love underwear. I think it's just beautiful. And it's because that's the one thing that's on your skin itself. It just helps elevate your confidence. So that's for me. The second thing I would say is shoes. I love my shoes. I love them in different colors. I love them in different heights. The higher, the better. But I usually only always wear pointy shoes. Usually. Yes. I don't like round toes. I'm not really a fan of strappy heels, right? But I would wear strappy heels depending on the occasion. Like if I'm at a dinner event and it's a bit more, I would wear strappy heels. But my go-to is just give me a covered, peep toe, rather covered, pointy toe kind of shoes, and I'm just in little shoe heaven. Third thing will be my tailored dresses. I love tailored dresses. And for me, it's because of how my body is. Anything I wear just fits to my shape, right? So tailored dresses show me to my best advantage in that sense. So I love my tailored dresses. I love skirts. I love tops. I love silky, satiny kind of tops. So I really like feminine material and feminine fabric. It's very recently, that's not even true. That's kind of a lie. I really hate jeans. Honestly, I really don't like it. I have one pair of jeans in my wardrobe today. I'm hoping to expand, but I don't like jeans. I don't like the
No,
fabric,
nobody need it. They've
you
told
know.
you it. You have to have it. You don't, people.
So
These jeans matter.
tell
Keep going,
you.
Mama.
Then other things that are not so overt, but they add up to my total style would be my nails. My nails are actually a part of my style. So first of all, I do my nails to make me happy. I know you can't really see it right now, but I have like this brown marbly effect going on there. And I do my nails to make me happy, and they're a part of my overall look. accessories are a big deal. So I usually always have a few bracelets on me. I love my rings. They told me I
Anklets.
need so that my husband will find me. Oh, well, let's leave that for another conversation, another day. But I love my rings. I love my anklets, Braxy. And I think some people came and stole my anklets because I can't find them at the moment. But that's fine. So yeah. And then I have my earrings that I usually always wear. So I love jewelry. I love shiny stuff. Makeup, I mean, I think it's a part of my style thing. I use purple lipstick a lot, or nude, or a mix of purple and nude. And just little things to elevate how it is I pull together. My style icons, in addition to my mom, I think my mom was the first representation of what it meant to be a woman who's just always well put together. My mom is in her 70s now, and she comes out and I'm just like, look, okay, what are you playing at? Like, you have your husband's heart. What more do you want? Leave it for us. And she's like, no, am I looking fine? I'm like, you're such a fraudster. You know, you're looking hot. So my mom is that first person that always just, when her husband would be coming home at the time, I just see her running quickly. I just, rub her down, rub some lipstick. I'm like, come on now. But little things like that. The other four people I'm going to mention, two are from ancient times, not so ancient, and two are contemporary. The two from ancient, you see that there's a connecting line through all four, Audrey Hepburn and Jackie O. And you see both of them have very similar styles in terms of very classic, very feminine, very, yeah, Validate's feeling me, very feminine. They wear mostly in dresses or tailored pants, like just really structured in that sense. I love it. My two contemporary guys are architect Jumoke Adenawa, I think Fumi mentioned her earlier, and then Dr. Cindy Trim. And again, it's just for that femininity they bring when they dress and the little details that they pay attention in their clothing and in pulling that all together. The other thing is that all four of these women usually dress with a sense of modesty and decency for the most part. So that's something that's at the heart of me as well. And in terms of final words, one thing I would say is if you've not done anything, go and sit down and draw out in a very vivid way the woman that you want to be at your next most significant birthday. If there's one task I would leave you to do, write that woman out in color. I did this in 2018. My next most significant birthday was going to be 40 at the time I did that. And I tell you that everything I wrote about that woman that day, I am that woman today. But I saw it before I stepped into it. So take some time. And I'm not saying think it. I sat down, I wrote it out. I said on my next photo, this is how I'll be. This is, my God, I'm not going to cry, I promise. This is the home I will wake up in. I just recognize that in this moment right now. This is the home I would wake up in. These are the kind of sheets I'm waking up. This is how my bed looks. This is literally, this is the woman I'll be at 40. This is the impact I will be having. This is what people will be saying about me. That's one thing you can do today. I'm done.
My heart, my soul. I literally woke up this morning and I thought to myself, I wouldn't want to be anybody else except who I am right now. I admire myself. I want to be her. So I'm kind of grateful that I'm her. I used to say that if I wasn't myself, I would be like, that's who my best friend would be. So if you're my friend, just be happy today because there are many of us who are vying for, me. But Lady Bodam, thank you for sharing that so succinctly. Having a vision of you helps you to get rid of, but that's not my style, but I don't like that, but this is what I feel comfortable. It helps you see where you're going. Because if today we say you're governor of the state, you're not going to say, oh no, I can never wear a blazer. No, it's not my style. You probably wouldn't. So let's go to Fumi and Ayonfe. And Lady Bodam, thank you so much for spending your evening with us. I really want to thank all of you. It's International Women's Day, and we accelerate action by the things, by the way we show up, by our presence, by our fashion, by our style. And so know that for you, we're not just waiting for people external to accelerate action for us. This is how we are accelerating action, helping our sponsors and our mentors advocate for us because we are the picture of what people are looking for, those opportunities are looking for. So thank you, Lady Bodam. I do understand you have a class this evening, so feel free to exit us at any time. Y'all give her some love in the chat. Woo! Okay, how can people elevate real quick? Ayanfe and Fumi, just go ahead and share two things. Just say this is how you can just elevate your fashion in the next, yeah, this week.
Two things. First one would definitely be document where you are now. I think a lot of women are walking and doing life, and they don't have an accurate picture of who they are. So, for instance, you introduce yourself, and I think Braxy, you did this so beautifully yesterday when you were sharing, just about the journey to this documentary, and you took note of all the things you have become or you have done up until this moment. And I think sometimes a lot of us forget, maybe because our 9 to 5 probably takes the predominant aspect of our lives and the other bits are not so prominent. So we almost forget that that is also an expression of us. So I think one thing you can do right now is take that 360 view of who am I in this moment? What are all the expressions of me? Because whether we like it or not, our style needs to reflect all those expressions of you in some way, shape, or form. And sometimes why people feel that lack of congruence is because they're probably only sitting or just kind of maybe dwelling on one aspect of themselves and they're not really dwelling on another aspect. And like we all know, we've all been designed to be multi-influential. We have different multiple flows, and that's fine. So I would say that's one thing you should do now because you'll find that when you do that 360 audit, of what are all the expressions of me, what are all the things that I am, you would actually find that it would also give you a fresh sense or kind of almost like a revelation of how I need to show up in terms of my style. So, for instance, if you did that audit and you realize, oh my goodness, in the past 5 years, there's been this ministry expression of me come up. There's also maybe this creative expression come up. There's also this entrepreneurial expression come up. And you're looking at all these multiple sides. And then it begins to show you, oh, this is how I should show up. And then when you do that, I think you're actually primed to do that assignment that Bodam just told us to do, where you then say, okay, I've taken stock of what we where we are now. Now let me do that 5 year vision casting of where I want to go. So I would say that's one thing. And the second thing as well is if you're in this moment and you're saying, honestly, I feel like my sense of style or like my style is just all over the place. I mean, all of us here are women of faith on this panel. I feel we all know that one person to have a conversation with is go back to the one who made you. I remember when I would always, the statement my dad would always tell me, he would say, remember who you are, whose you are, and where you're coming from. There's someone who created you, and he's the one who actually has the best, most accurate description of who you are and how you should be expressed on this earth. So have a conversation with him. That might be what you need to do, and you'll be amazed at how you will get things that actually influence how your style should now evolve or begin to evolve. So I would say, please don't underestimate that conversation because some of those conversations you have with the Holy Spirit could actually begin to just give you like little hints on maybe, for instance, like what happened to Dr. Fumi, where she realized she actually had to go take a course on styling. It might be that. It might be that you now get some kind of insight that I need to talk to this person, or I need to begin to look at this person, or I need to read this book, or I need to read the style guide, So if you're in that place where you're like, this, I'm really behind on this conversation, please don't feel that way. A good place for you to start is to talk to the one who actually created you and be like, let's have a catch up. Let's have a catch up. Have I been showing up the way you actually envisioned me on your vision board? Am I matching? Is my style matching what is saying, what it says on your vision board? And I think that exercise in itself will literally just kind of take that weight and that pressure off, yeah, and really get you on that path to begin
Mm.
to craft and identify what your style could be.
James Allen said you cannot travel within without traveling without. So I offer thank you
Mm,
so much for raising this because that means if you do this work I is talking about, you won't even know when your choices start to change. You wouldn't even need to be as deliberate. It just would be. So Fumi, please talk to us about two things they can do right now. And you can feel free to talk about pieces they can change or, anything whatsoever.
Okay, I'll talk about it's important how you smell. So choose to smell like a field that God has blessed. Choose to, I remember my friend she was mixing all sort of colognes at a conference. And I'm like, it seemed like a ritual, the way she was doing it and speaking to herself. And she was like, oh, God has told her that she must always smell like who he calls her. And for me, that just like, wow. So it's beyond just, so you smell like, and you see that everywhere in the Old Testament, God was big on smells, burning incense, everything. He's big on how places smell. So please invest in how you smell, invest in your skincare. I want you to invest in a good moisturizing facial wash. Whatever you use for your body should be different from what you use on your face. A good facial wash, a cleanser, a toner. There's no need for anyone to be changing the complexion. Please just make sure you're investing in the best skincare for your color. You don't need to have a brighter shade. I remember seeing a dark Ghanaian lady in December at the conference. I was ogling. I literally was like, I love your skin. Her skin had this bright shine and it was rich black, and you would never see a scar on her face because it was just well moisturized, well oiled. So just maintain what it is God has given you. Make sure that you're taking care of your skin. You can have facials if possible. It doesn't have to be anything expensive. It can be just exfoliation, cleansing, toning regularly, but make sure that your skin looks good. You're investing in good moisturizing lotions, moisturizing soaps. Please avoid all the organic things that have no scientific basis and just makes a mess of your skin. Please make sure your hair looks good. I know there's a craze for wigs now, but make sure the hair under looks good and smells good also. Don't have cornrows on there for weeks and weeks and weeks on end, and please, please make sure everything under looks just as good as whatever it is outside looks. And invest in good tailored blazers, good tailored pants, good tailored skirts. You don't have to have too many things to make style work. Invest in a good neck piece, good earrings, a good bracelet, and you're good to go. Good shoes. Make sure you're cleaned up every time you're going out, and just show up as royalty, because that's who God says you are. You are royalty, and just walk knowing that you're loved and you're accepted and you're needed, and whatever it is that you bring to the world is important. So
Wow.
yes,
I
that's it
love it
for
so
me.
much. Thank you all so much for sharing these. I was going to talk about some of the things they've talked about, but I think they've talked about the key pieces and all. Now, half of us show up more virtually than we actually show up in person. So I want to encourage you as well. Your virtual show up game is just as important. If you're over 18 here, you have no business your tongue being out of your mouth. Yeah. Mhm. You have no business taking a picture where your tongue is hanging out of your mouth. You don't know what that's your inner, just like we don't want to see your intestines and things. We really don't want to see. The teeth is the most we want to see. Okay. So keep your tongue in your mouth. Have some key headshots. It really does matter. Everything doesn't have to be a selfie. No selfies on LinkedIn or even your Instagram bio. Again, it depends on where you're seeing yourself. If you're seeing yourself somewhere, place yourself there. Don't call yourself just a student, you're a leader. Don't call yourself just a mom, just a wife, you're a leader. So in every way you show up as though Vogue has paid you for footage. That's how important that you are. Putting this together, asking the ladies, you see all of them showing up here intentionally. We put it as though you all were paying us for a show. You see the documentary, we put it as though you went to a cinema to go watch it. That's the level of intentionality that should be behind how you show up. And most of all, um, I think go study hair as well and the colors that work with you. Somebody just spoke about natural hair I wish I had gorgeous, full, big, natural hair the way I see it inside. There's a way I see it inside. It's not like that outside, but there's a way I see it inside. I would love to style it, but there are ways I would carry it that might be different from room to room. So for work, I love natural looking type of straight hair like this. Other times I can have some red and stuff, but you don't necessarily have to be that person in the morning one hair, in the evening one hair, in the afternoon one hair. Again, depends on your climate, it depends on your environment. And not to, I cannot overemphasize you doing that workbook, taking the time to do that workbook, taking the time to study. So give yourself this week to say, what is now my new sense of style? And if you need to pay for a stylist, you have a friend who does style. I didn't say who looks good or who looks trendy, but you like the way they put their pieces together. If you don't have anybody else to pay money to, you go ask that person. I remember one time one of my friends got a stylist and I said, no, you style better than the stylist. And that friend may or may not be here. I don't know. But she definitely styled better than the stylist. So I'm not saying go with just trends and stuff. I'm not saying go boring because people say wear only black. Nah. But show up as the version of you want to be. Underwear, outer clothes, the outer again, your hair, your accessories, your shoes. And I trust that this has been a great experience for you. What is one word you use to describe your experience today? Accelerating action. When I first got into the workforce about maybe 15 years ago, it was 200 years to gender parity. Now, guess how many years is it? It is. It's 132 years. We're making major progress. It doesn't always seem like that, but we are making major progress. And now I think about if it took us these many years to get to 70 years, the next 5 years, we could close the gap. You never know. Or we could go even further. And this is one of the ways we do that. If anybody else is criticizing a woman next to you, talking about her dressing when they should be talking about her content, argue that, challenge that, elevate the conversation. I heard about somebody in the Nigerian Senate, and the biggest argument was, oh, she wears transparent clothing. None of your what? None of your beeswax. None of your business, because the men who were wearing things similar you didn't talk about. So even while we are talking about elevating, it does not give anyone any excuse to question your worth without actually talking about what you're talking about and demeaning you to just what you're wearing and how you're wearing it, okay? So while we seek to improve ourselves, realize that this is not an excuse for you to be denigrated in any way. I love you, ladies. You're my sisters, you're my friends, you're women that I admire and would love any day to just sit down and listen to and have a conversation with. I'm so proud of you and the great work you're doing. And thank you for showing up today for all of our women. I want you all to keep raising strong daughters. I let my daughter choose her clothes based on the clothes I bought for her. Begin to strengthen these voices in your children, even from now. Begin to let them know they have a choice and they can express themselves and not be cookie cutter. I don't know, that thing just felt important to drop as we're going. So happy International Women's Day. Can we do the pose before we go? Because this will be a picture. I know, power. Fumi is like, Fumi, we can't see your hand. Or bring your hand. All right. Yeah, we got that
Thank
picture.
you guys for having us.
Thank you. I see them in the chat, loving on y'all. Thank you for making the time. God bless you. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye, everybody.